Hey y'all, it's your girl MJ on the ones and twos. Thank you guys for tuning into my very first Smokey Eye tutorial. To see more of the looks that I like to do on my clients, please subscribe to my channel and don't forget to like and comment on this video. Before I begin applying any products to my client's face, I like to go in with a toner, and this will help to remove any excess oils, dirt, or makeup that the client may have on their skin. I often notice that after I do this step, the brows may still be a little wet, so I'll go in with the translucent powder to set them in place, and I just use a fluffy blending brush to apply it. Once this is done, I go in with my favorite eyebrow pencil by L'Oreal called Brow Stylist to fill in my client's brows. Thank God she came with her brows groomed because it made it so much easier. As you can see, she had the perfect brow shape. All I had to do was fill them in to my liking. When filling in the brows on my clients, I like to go in with a very light hand using hair-like strokes. My go-to brow pencil would be the L'Oreal Brow Stylist. This pencil is the best on the market in my opinion. It's very pigmented. It goes on super smooth. As you can see in the video, her eyebrows are giving what needed to be gave. Like, this pencil will really get the brows snatched up. And also, if you know me, like outside of social media, back when I was a teenager in high school, I've been snatching up the brows for a long time. Like, a long time. Brows are literally my favorite part of the makeup routine. Brows will make or break your face, so please take your time. Do not rush. Take your time and get them brows as close as possible, as identical as possible. Take your time. I notice that I get the best results when I just follow the natural shape of the client's brow. I like to outline it first and then fill it in until I feel like it has that pop, like the brow looks great. Like I said, brows do make or break the face, so put your all into those brows. Like, you want somebody to be outside and be like, damn girl, who snatched them brows up? Oh, MJ? Yeah. My client definitely was asleep the whole time I did her makeup. If y'all notice that I'm constantly moving her head from right to left, I had the R&B tunes going, the candles was lit, so I definitely set the mood. My girl was out like a light, but y'all can see that I'm just moving back and forth between the right brow and the left brow, trying to get them as perfect as possible. So stay tuned to see how I got the perfect brow for my client.
I wanna be down. I wanna be down. No matter time of day and night, it's gonna be down.
Now it's time to go clean up those brows with concealer. I like to use a flat concealer brush, and I go in with my Tarte Shape Tape concealer to clean up the brows. I like to start at the arch of the brow so I can have that nice crisp start. I like to drag down to the tail and lightly clean up the front of the brow. I do take my time on this part because I want to avoid mixing the concealer with the brow hairs. We work hard for these brows. Like, we take our time. Precision is key. I do not want that concealer blending in with my brow hairs and messing up my perfect brow. So I do take my time, as you can see. I do the same exact steps on the next brow. And as you can see, I am patting that concealer in as I apply it, and this will help it dry down faster.
Love is on one in a million. It goes on and on and on. You give all day long. Your love is one in a million. It goes on.
Once I am done patting my concealer into place, I go in with an eyeshadow base by PLouise, and the shade is Rumor 2. This bright shade will help my eyeshadows pop as much as possible. I just go in with the blending brush and pack that on and blend it nicely into that concealer under the eyebrow. And once it's blended to perfection, it's time to move on to eyeshadow.
Hello stranger, it's been a minute since we last kicked it. And by the way, just got in town, and I won't let cumulus clouds all in the sky. in my vibe. Usually I don't do this often, but since recruiting isn't an option due to unusual.
For this smoky eye look, I'll be going in with the new Persuasion palette by Beauty by Melissa. This palette is the bomb. If you do not have this palette in your kit, please go get it. The shade range is amazing. The way the colors apply, they apply like butter. They blend so flawlessly. I really do love this palette. I spent a lot of time blending the eyeshadows with this look. I needed this eyeshadow to be perfect. I am a perfectionist when it comes to my girls. I do not play. So I'm going to actually speed this part up just so I don't bore you guys to death with the blending process. But this is a very important process, so please take your time. Take your time.
It's not that I don't want you here. It's something about the way you stare into my eyes. I know that I don't make things clear. I fall for you every time I try to resist. We can get away. Come chase beach views and every day. All I wanna hear is an visions that we play. Sit right next to you. I'm trying not to show how I feel about you.
Once I was finished applying those warm shades to her lid, I went in with the Badda Black Base by PLouise to start my smoky eye. I applied it with a smudger brush so that way I'm able to apply that base exactly where I need it to be. I didn't want to bring it up too high because I still needed to blend it out, and I didn't want her to look like she had a black eye. I wanted it to look like smoke. And once I was done blending it in with a blending brush to my liking, I went in and I set it with that black shade inside of the new Persuasion palette. So if you watch closely, you'll see exactly how I got my perfect smoky eye. When you work with a black eyeshadow, you have to take your time. You want to make sure everything is blended to perfection. I know I probably said blend to perfection like 1,000 times so far in this tutorial, but I'm telling y'all, blending is so important. We want these colors to just melt into one another. We don't want anything to look harsh and crazy. We don't want it to look like, you know, she came to get her makeup done but came back home with a black eye. We don't want that. So please take your time and blend. Most clients usually book me for a natural glam. So when somebody comes in, they want a soft glam or a full glam, I jump right in my bag. Like, I get so excited to pull some new tips and tricks out my hat. Like, it keeps me on my toes. Like, the way that this smoky eye turned out, I was very proud. I loved it a lot. I am telling y'all, go get that palette. Go get the palette, please. At this point of her appointment, my girl was gone. Like, y'all, she was asleep. Down for the count. I like that my studio gives you guys that homely feeling. Like, you can come in and you can just relax. And it just makes it easier for me because I can just do my thing. I can work. You're not on the phone. You're not distracting me. You're not asking me questions. We're not chit-chatting back and forth. Even though sometimes I don't mind busting up with my clients. But this is when I move the fastest. And my girl was dead. I don't mind, though, because she looked beautiful. I don't mind. Just sit back, relax, and really watch how I slay this smoky eye. Like, this, it really did look good. Yep.
Where'd you go? Now you know how I've been living without you. Daydreaming on a cloud with you like a horizon. With you tonight is on an island. It's about time I'm waking up. Found you as a with you waking up. Now you feel set up, clean and you touch. I needed to distance myself from you. I was just in love with you. So I come close, I want you. Can I tell you something for what it's worth? We're headed
Now that we're finally finished all that blending and building, it's time to top off this look by adding some eyelashes. I like to go in and put the lash glue directly upon her lash line. Since our bodies are warm, this will speed up the drying time and the lash glue will become super tacky in literally seconds. And all you have to do is put the lashes right on top. The lashes that I will be using today are from Amazon. They come in a pack of 8. It's kind of like a fluffy, voluminous lash. I use it on all my clients. I think it's very flattering. It's very beginner friendly. I love when I finish off eyeshadow and it's time for me to put the lashes on. Lashes add that little razzle dazzle that might be missing to the client's face. It's like you put the lashes on and it really turned them from girl to girl. Yeah, those lashes, them lashes is everything. Like, you look good and we only finished your eyes. Now it's time for us to move on to the face so we can complete this whole look. Now that we're moving on to the face, I like to start with skin prep. In the beginning, I went in with the toner to remove any dirt, oils, or makeup that she may have had lingering behind. Now I'm going in with a moisturizer to keep her skin hydrated under this makeup. She did have dry skin, so I went in with the e.l.f. Holy Hydration Moisturizer. This is one of my go-tos. I love it. I use it on all my clients, even if they're oily, because oily skin still needs to be properly moisturized. That is key. Moisturizing is key when you're applying makeup. Once I was done blending that in, I went in with the e.l.f. Putty Primer. This is another one of my favorites. I feel like it makes the foundation apply like silk. I like to take my time when I go in to prep my client's skin for the next step. I want to make sure that moisturizer and primer is blended in, so when I go in and I apply that foundation, it looks flawless and it looks super smooth. So I want to say I spend maybe about like 3 to 5 minutes tops on skin prep. Now it's time to apply the foundation, and of course I am going in with my ultimate favorite, Nars Soft Matte Foundation. I love this foundation so much. I love Nars foundations, period. But this soft matte really has me in a chokehold. It has my heart. I love it so much. I love the finish. Like, it just looks so soft and airbrush once I'm done buffing out everything, setting it with powders. Like, it's really top 2 and it ain't 2. You feel me? I noticed that my client's face was slightly lighter than her chest, and I want her whole body to be the same shade. Her neck was also a little bit darker than the rest of her body, which isn't a problem because at the end I'm going to make sure that everything blends together. But I did grab a couple shades. I used New Caledonia and Marquises from Nars, and then I went in with like a dab of 370 by Maybelline. I took out one of my artist paint palettes and I mixed these 3 shades together. I was able to get this mixture very close to her skin tone, and that made me so happy because sometimes when clients come in and you know that they have a couple different tones going on, it can get kind of discouraging. You might be thinking in your head like, damn, I really hope that these couple foundations I mixed together will be the perfect match. But all in all, you really have to trust the process and have faith in yourself. You can do it. Now that I'm finished buffing out that foundation, it's time for me to highlight her face. I'm going to go in with a concealer shade that's about 2 to 3 shades lighter than her skin tone. This will give that under eye that natural pop. It gives it a little razzle dazzle that I like on my clients. The concealer that I'll be using is Shape Tape by Tarte. I like this concealer because it's super creamy and it's very full coverage. This concealer is the bomb. I use it on everybody. If you don't have this concealer in your kit, you need to add it. I like to apply the concealer directly under her eyes, the center of her nose, her chin, and her forehead. These are all the places where light will reflect, so I want these places to look a little bit brighter on her face. While this concealer is drying down, I let it sit maybe for like a minute, and I'll go and I'll contour her face. And I'll apply this contour to the hollows of her cheek. In most cases, I'll apply it to the client's forehead. In this case, that wasn't possible because of the way her hair was, which was fine. It's not a big deal. And I'll apply it to the sides of her nose. Before, I mentioned that her neck was slightly darker than the rest of her body, which is where that contour shade will come in and it'll complement everything. I'm going to make that contour shade just a little bit darker so that way that contour shade will match up with her neck. I go in with my Real Techniques setting brush to begin to buff out that under eye concealer, the concealer on her forehead, the concealer on her nose and on her chin. This is one of my favorite brushes. It gives me a nice airbrush look and it doesn't smear my concealer around. It pats it right into place. I never have any problems blending with this brush. I like to use the black Opal foundation sticks to contour with my clients. I like this brand because they have a nice shade range. These sticks are creamy, they are easy to blend, and it just gives me a nice flawless finish when I'm done blending that contour. I use an angled brush to buff out that nose contour. I take my time because I don't want my client's nose to look botched when she's leaving here. So I blend it out until you really cannot see that contour anymore. It just kind of like melted into her skin. And I use another blending brush to buff out that concealer in the middle. Again, I'm still taking my time. I had to zoom in so y'all really can get into this look. Like, this beat looks so good. I love how it's really giving skin. So now at this point, I'll just be going back and forth, blending out anything that I notice, fixing a couple things, and we can finish this look up. But she look good. My girl look good. I ain't even gonna cat. Yeah, who do your makeup, MJ? Get into it. Let's talk about it.
Listen, seeing you got ritualistic, cleansing my soul of addiction for now, 'cause I'm falling apart. Yeah, tension between.
Now that I'm done blending everything in, guess what, y'all? I'm going in with that cream blush. Earlier this day, I ran to Ulta and I was just picking up a couple things, and I'm strolling down the aisle, and that e.l.f. Putty Blush caught my damn eye. And the fact that it was only $6 meant that I really had to buy every shade. And when I say that this blush is everything, this blush is all that in a bag of chips. The color that I used on her was Caribbean. Yo, it's just beautiful. Like, look at how it applies. They are so pretty and pigmented. Once I was finished with this, I just went in with my Inglot 77 gel liner and I lined along her waterline and put some mascara to give her eyes a little bit more drama. And yes, my girl is giving. I went in with Sacha Buttercup to set her face. I applied it along her under eye, on the sides of her nose. While that's baking, I go in with my black Radiance contour palette in medium deep to set her contour. I like to apply the contour shade with an angled brush so that way the cheeks are still giving very much chisel. And I apply a blush directly on top. Y'all know I am a blush lady. I use the Juvias Rouge Volume 1 to set that cream blush in place. With blush, I like to add a couple layers because I noticed that as you go throughout the day, blush is kind of like the first thing that starts to lose its color. So I do like the blush to be a little bit more pigmented on my client's skin. Once I am done applying that blush, I go in with a fluffy brush and I set the rest of her face. And I use the Maybelline setting powders. I use the colors 360 and 375 together. And once I'm finished with this look, my girl looks amazing. Then I go ahead and zoom in one more time for y'all because I really want y'all to get the details on this ombre lip that I like to do. When I go to work on my client's lip, I like to use a liquid lipstick as liner instead of a pencil. I feel like the liquid lipstick just lasts a little bit longer and it just gives a better finish. And I'm just using the Nude lip gloss from Shop Miss A. I apply a couple layers of that liquid lipstick because I want that liner to last them at least half the day. And I just tell them what they need to touch up with. I tell my clients to pat their lips together. Please do not smudge and mess up that ombre that I got going on. Please pat your lips together. And I might spend like a total like 2 minutes on the lips because I want them lips to look perfect. Now it's time for some setting spray, and it's time for my girl to hit the streets.
Hello, stranger.